In today's news, Premier Wheatley highlights importance of collaboration to tackle crime. KISHMA PENN says BVI needs stronger green initiatives. Premier Wheatley notes agreement reached on key recommendations, and BVI Airports Authority joins ACI-LAC leadership to aid airport upgrades. These and more stories when To It For News returns.
We mash the gas, them bite the dust. We set the speed while they gathering rust. Inside we heart BVI come first. So please don't be fooled, cause they not like us.
Once we mash the gas, them bite the dust. Cause we always fast and we always fuss. If you want a real speed, you know who to trust. Somebody better tell them they're not like who? They're not like us. CCT fast, like CCT fast, like CCT just generosity, love the community bad, like CCT fast with the 5G. Cause BVI is we.
At Higher BVI, we're not just about business. We're about empowering lives, and that is because we aspire to inspire. By choosing us, you're supporting a company that believes in equal opportunities, diversity, and community growth. Our mission goes beyond profit. It's about providing HR solutions, fostering talent, and leaving a positive impact. Join us in building a better future, a better BVI. Choose Higher BVI, where your support isn't just a transaction, it's a transformation. Together, we're changing lives in these beautiful Virgin Islands.
Welcome viewers to the Friday, October 10th edition of To It For News. I am Jacques Wooding Donovan, bringing you the latest out of the British Virgin Islands. Thank you so much for joining us. Just a few days after armed masked men stormed a bar in Road Town and injured one person, armed robbers targeted yet another bar. Reports say armed masked men stormed a bar in the Boggers Bay area on Tuesday night. Shots were fired, however, no one was injured from that incident. That same day, officers on patrol in Myers Estate were alerted by a female resident to an attempted break-in at her home. A male suspect, reportedly wearing a mask, fled the scene on a scooter when confronted. Officers immediately gave chase. However, during the pursuit, the suspect brandished what appeared to be a firearm before escaping the area. Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley has emphasized the need for collective action to address rising crime in light of these incidents, highlighting the recent anti-crime summit as a key event for finding solutions. More in this report. Premier Dr. Natalia Wheatley has reaffirmed his government's commitment to addressing crime in the Virgin Islands, stressing that the issue affects the entire community and requires a collaborative response. Speaking on a recent episode of Virgin Islands Voice, Premier Wheatley addressed the recent crime incidents, noting that he has held discussions with the National Security Council to address the situation. The Premier expressed sympathy for those affected by recent criminal acts, underscoring the government's awareness of the impact on families and communities. He emphasized the significance of the recent anti-crime summit, describing it as an important platform for stakeholders to work together on solutions.
I've, of course, discussed these with National Security Council. We have National Security Council meeting tomorrow. We'll be able to get a little more in-depth into the investigations. But of course, I sympathize with those persons who were impacted those events, including one person who was shot. And but it just underscores the reason why we're having an anti-crime summit in the first place. I'm not sure if persons were assuming that just having an anti-crime summit itself would be a solution to crime. But actually, it's the anti-crime summit is the forum by which we are able to discuss some solutions. and we were able to come together and discuss quite a number of things. And we had Officium, who was crime experts who came to the territory. They were able to collate a lot of information that was discussed in the anti-crime summit, and they will help us to produce an anti-crime strategy, a crime reduction strategy.
The Anti-Crime Summit brought together law enforcement, community groups, and partners to develop strategies to reduce crime and strengthen public safety. However, the premier stressed that it required work from everyone to play their part.
But it requires all of us to come together. It's just another reminder. Those incidents are just another reminder that crime can touch every single person in the Virgin Islands. It can affect your business. It can affect you in your home. We've had high-profile public servants who persons have come into their homes while they were there, armed persons. So that's not something to make persons feel insecure, but just there to let you know that we have a challenge that we have to confront, and we have to confront that challenge together. The police have their responsibility. The government has their responsibility, but everyone has a responsibility as it pertains to crime, because it can touch each and every one of us. It can damage our economy. It can reduce our own sense of security, our peace and well-being, and it can also impact those that we love. So we don't want to lose momentum coming out of this crime summit. Certainly, if persons have seen something, they should say something. Anything strange, they should say, bring it to the attention of the authorities. And of course, we must take as many precautions as we can to safeguard our businesses and our homes.
As a matter of the overcrowding of the prison, Wheatley says the focus must be on preventing people from getting involved in a life of crime. The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force is appealing to anyone who may have witnessed suspicious activity or have information that could assist the investigations to come forward. Please contact the Royal Virgin Islands Intelligence Unit at 368-9339 or share information anonymously through Crime Stoppers at 800-8477 or 800-8476 if calling from overseas. Meanwhile, a local talk show host believes the BVI is not doing enough to protect its environment. During the Speak Out BVI program, host KISHMA PENN said the government needs to start a national recycling program, and she suggested the need for more beach and coastal cleanup campaigns.
There continues to be no excuse and no understanding of the low-hanging fruit that we can't even make as a territory. As a territory, we don't have a full-on recycling program. You can imagine, I keep saying this, some of we to spend all money and go to the United States, and as we touch down, everything that we have, that plastic, metal, this, we find in recycling, because we know that's what they do up there. If you go to the UK, as you touch down, you know that's what they do up there. And you mean to tell me we living in a place that's one of the most beautiful in the entire world? We could rival Bora Bora, we could rival Tahiti, we could make nice with Hawaii. And we don't want to recycle. And recycling ain't compulsory in this country yet. The government itself haven't started a national recycling program, not private sector people trying to get us to keep the beaches clean. I'm talking about the actual government itself mandating that its citizens recycle to reduce the actual waste that actually 1.13 or 81,000 square miles of sea border or 89,000 square miles of sea border is one of them numbers. We don't do as many clean up the beach and coastal clean up campaigns as we should. We don't push for environmental things as we should. And some of these things are just bare minimal standards. All over this island you drive and you're just seeing garbage. People don't care. Throwing garbage out the window, throwing garbage down the bush, throwing garbage, driving around with garbage, and the vehicle when it fall, them leave it there.
PENN said the situation is much different on Virgin Gorda. She said the sister island has a public-private partnership where the private sector steps in and helps where the government is failing.
A lot of roads over there are constructed and paid for by the actual millionaires and billionaires who own the land over there. A lot of the infrastructure that you see is maintained and upheld by these people. A lot of the infrastructure over in Virgin Gorda is built by these people, and I don't even mean what they actually own. I mean things where they just say, literally got some community movers and shakers over there. We know who a lot of them are, and when they pick up the phone and they start ringing, they get things to happen. There's a lot of public-private partnership that happens in Virgin Gorda where ordinary citizens who have access to these millionaires and billionaires understand what this access means and uses it for the betterment of Virgin Gorda. And kudos to all the Virgin Gordians who actually do it and do it the way that they do it. These people invest in the territory and invest in this tourism economy to the point where they are so invested in it, they say, I am not going to let Virgin Gorda fall. If Public Works won't fix it, we will fix it. If Public Works can't do it, we will do it. If the government won't build it, we will build it. Prime example, the government talked a good talk for a long time about the clinic. It was mainly built by a private endowment, with most of the money coming from a private endowment. So don't hand clap the government for the hospital over in Virgin Gorda. The upgrade clinic, they may need not 1 ounce of a hand clap. Them put in a little 2 cents, yeah. But the majority of the money, the bulk of the money, came from a private individual.
Up next, St. George's pupil reads report on 284 Media, and the government confirms Logos Hope visits. Events as well have been announced. These and more stories when 284 News returns.
Just give me my service. Yeah. Just give me my service. Just give me my service.
Make the switch to CCT and get connected today. Unlimited talk, text, and data. Visit any CCT store or call us at 444-4444. CCT, Life Unlimited.
Life is unpredictable, and when a storm is coming, having a plan can make all the difference.
We need a plan in case of a hurricane. Everyone, let's work together on this.
This is where we go in case if we need to evacuate. This is safe away from flood zones.
I will use this room as our secure space if we have to stay home.
Don't forget to save our local contacts and also our off-island contacts.
Right, and we need to have a plan for our pets too. They can't go to shelters, so we need a safe place for them.
In case we get separated, we should have a meeting spot. How about the community center?
That's good, and we can leave a note there too.
I feel safe knowing we have a plan.
With a plan, you're not just preparing for the worst, you're taking control of the situation. A message from the Department of Disaster Management and 284 Media.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Premier Dr. Natalia Weasley says some level of consensus was achieved when members of the House of Assembly debated the Constitutional Review Commission report. Members of the House debated the recommendations of the report, and they are now in committee stage, following which they will formulate a report. Premier Wheatley, who was speaking on the government's program Virgin Islands Voice, said the recommendations in the Commission's report will not be changed, but based on the conversations that came during the committee stage, Members will create another report that will serve as a stepping stone in their negotiations with the United Kingdom.
There are quite a number of issues where we had agreement among all the members of the House, regardless of whether opposition or government. Now, you will never have a situation where every single
Premier Wheatley also made it clear that members of the opposition would be part of the negotiating team to the UK.
That's been the tradition.
Okay.
You know, because it represents not just the government, but the opposition, the entire House of Assembly. And these are the people's representatives. So it will comprise members from the government, members from the opposition, and also we will have resource persons. Most likely we'll have the chair of the Constitutional Review Commission. We'll have persons from the Attorney General's chambers. We'll have other persons from the community who will be a part of that negotiating body, and then we'll negotiate with the United Kingdom. And as the caller rightly said, it's important that the group that goes is unified in defending the report,
Right.
which is put forward. So it's not a matter of persons going up there and everybody saying whatever they want to say. We're going to go up there to defend this report that we are going to produce in committee. That's what we're negotiating for, and we all must be aligned in
In the same
that.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the BVIAA Airports Authority has been elevated to governing member status within the Airports Council International, Latin America, and the Caribbean. A move Minister for Communications and Works Kai Reimer says comes at a pivotal time as the territory advances its runway extension and airport expansion plans. More in this report. The BVI Airports Authority, BVIAA, has been elevated to governing member of Airports Council International, Latin America, and the Caribbean. Minister for Communications and Works Kai Reimer said this elevation comes at a pivotal time for the territory's aviation development. Reimer stated that as they advance the runway extension and airport expansion project, the strengthened regional ties and direct access to global expertise provided through the ACI-LAC will help accelerate efforts to deliver a modern, safe, and internationally compliant airport. BVIAA Managing Director Kurt Menal represented the authority at the ACI-LAC annual conference in Trinidad, where the appointment was formalized. Minister Reimer commended Menal's leadership and the BVIAA team for enhancing the territory's visibility and influence within the regional aviation community. The BVIAA's new governing member status enhances opportunities for technical cooperation, access to international best practices in airport design and operations, and engagement with funding and partnership networks aligned with the government's expansion objectives. Insights on air service liberalization, sustainability, and airport modernization gained through the ACI-LAC will be directly applied to the territory's runway and terminal planning to ensure compliance with international standards and environmental best practices. Through this membership, the BVIAA will benefit from technical assistance, knowledge sharing, and capacity building programs that strengthen local expertise in project management, procurement, and operational readiness. These initiatives will inform the engineering, environmental mitigation, and phased construction sequencing for upcoming runway extensions and terminal upgrades. The expanded access to regional partners and financing mechanisms is also expected to support timely and cost-effective project delivery. 284 Media welcomes a special guest to today's newscast, a student reader from the St. George's Primary School who joined our team to deliver the next report. The initiative is part of Reading is Fun Week 2025 and our team's ongoing efforts to engage young people in journalism and give students hand-on experience in broadcast media. Take it away.
My name is Michael Adams. I attend the St. George's Primary School. I am in grade 6 and I am 11 years old. The government of the Virgin Islands has officially confirmed the visit of the NV Logos Hope, the world's largest floating book fair. Following initial reporting by 284 Media, the vessel is scheduled to dock in Road Town, Tortola, from October 24, 2025, offering the public access to more than 5,000 titles for sale. The Premier's office, which is coordinating the visit, announced a slate of activities to accompany the SIP's arrival. These include a welcome reception, a courtesy call on the Premier and other governmental officials, a press conference and student visits. Non-profit organization, uniformed groups, and members of the public will also have opportunities to engage with the international crew and more than 400 multicultural volunteers on board. Additional events will include Rotary Gathering, a community donation drive, and a fundraising concert, while members of the SIP's crew are also expected to take part in a local church service. The SIP's visit is expected to attract interest from students, educators, and book lovers across the territory.
Up next, Minister highlights need for mental health awareness when 284 News returns.
My name is Henry Bosch. I work for PPG. I'm here to explain to you the use of the Deltron NXT paint line and Enviro-based high performance, one being solvent-borne and the next being waterborne. The difference is that one is totally manufactured with rosins and thinners and all the good stuff that solvents bring versus our new technology, which is waterborne, which is 100% latex. What we're gonna do is that we reduce the solvent-borne with a DT885, which is a mid-temp reducer, and the waterborne uses T494, which is a waterborne reducer. We will today be using either DCU 2042, which is a speed clear, or we will be using DCU 2021, which is a classic. We have here our equipment. We have 8-ounce measuring cups, and we also have our 32-ounce mixing cup. We will also have with us our Venturi. This is a blower for us to dry the waterborne paint, which speeds up the process. The good thing about waterborne paint is that as soon as it evaporates, you're good to go. So now Gilligan will dilute the waterborne paint with the waterborne reducer. We made 8 ounces, that would be 1.6 ounce. It always has to be properly mixed until we get an even mixture within the paint mixing cup. So when we spray, we don't see uneven coats of color. So right now we're filling our paint gun with 8 ounces of diluted paint. We're gonna see how far 8 ounces will take us. Waterborne paint seems to look blotchy on your first coat. Don't pay no mind to that. Don't try to achieve full coverage on your first spray. Excellent. Let it dry. So the process in waterborne is 2 even coats, and then we have what we call a dust coat. Well, now we're gonna have Mr. Brown apply the first coat of clear on his waterborne panel. We'll let it flash off, and then he'll come back and coat it with his second coat to finish it off. As you had seen in the previous shots, we had a little blotchiness, and you'll see some patches. That's all due on purpose to sandpaper to prove that with Enviro-based high performance, all technicians, the body work has to end at 800 grit or plus. Well, Enviro-based is like we're trying to shift everyone into that slowly but surely. The entire west coast of the United States and all of Canada has already been on waterborne for the past 10 years. And now soon it'll be the eastern seaboard, which covers the Caribbean. So when that happens, we'll all be affected. So it's best to start now, start trying and applying waterborne, because eventually everyone will be on it. And referring to technicians, it's less harmful because it doesn't have all the toxic chemicals that solvent-borne paints do.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. In a message marking World Mental Health Day, Minister for Health and Social Development, Honorable Vincent Wheatley, reaffirmed the government's commitment to supporting mental well-being across the Virgin Islands. Together, we can create a community where everyone feels seen, supported, and understood, the Post read in a video statement shared by the government of the Virgin Islands.
This year, the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, and World Health Organization, WHO, call on us to elevate the mental health of children and adolescents as a regional priority in the Americas, recognizing it as both a fundamental human right and a cornerstone for sustainable social and economic development. This year's theme, Access to Services, Mental Health in Catastrophes and Emergencies, highlights the urgent need to ensure that children and adolescents have timely and equitable access to mental health care, especially in the wake of disasters, conflicts, or public health emergencies. Prioritizing their mental well-being is essential, not only for their personal development, but also for building resilient communities capable of thriving in the face of adversity. This is an important reminder that our collective progress depends on the health and strength of our people, especially the youngest among us. In the Virgin Islands, we have always taken pride in raising children within strong, caring communities. However, the world our children are growing up in today is far different from the one we experienced. New pressures and challenges are shaping their mental and emotional well-being in ways requires us to adapt our approaches, strengthen our support system, and deepen our understanding. Across the region, and indeed across the world, more children and young people are struggling with issues related to stress, anxiety, depression, bullying, social isolation. In the region, depression and anxiety rank among the top 5 causes of years lived with disability in this age group, while suicide is the 3rd leading cause of death among those aged 15 to 29. In fact, half of all mental illnesses begin by the age of 14. Many of these challenges are made worse by economic uncertainty, the impact of social media, and the effects of natural disasters and global crises, while children are navigating a world that often demands resilience beyond their years. Locally, we have seen firsthand how catastrophic and historical events coupled with the daily pressures of family and academic life can affect our young people's sense of stability and confidence. Some have lost loved ones. Others have faced disrupted schooling, and many continue to cope with invisible burdens that they did not always know how to express. It is therefore vital that we take this opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to supporting the mental health and emotional development of every child and adolescent in our territory. The Ministry of Health and Social Development continues to prioritize the mental health as a key pillar of sustainable development in our territory. However, mental health requires a whole of society approach. Families, schools, churches, and workplaces all play a vital role in creating an environment where children feel safe to express their emotion and seek help when needed. We must teach our young people that it is okay to talk about how they feel and that asking for support is a sign of strength, not weakness. I encourage parents and guardians to listen closely to their children and to take notice of changes in mood or behavior. Sometimes what may seem like defiance or withdrawal is really a call for help. I also urge our young people to look out for one another. Kindness, empathy, and friendship can make a profound difference supporting someone's mental well-being, as you can never know the battles they may be facing in private. As we observe World Mental Health Day, let us remember that mental health is not a separate issue from our territory's progress. It is a foundation for it. When our children are mentally healthy, they are more likely to succeed in school, building strong relationships, and grow into adults who contribute positively to society. By investing in their mental and emotional well-being, we are investing in the social and economic strength of the Virgin Islands.
And that's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com, like us on Facebook at 284media, and 284BVI on Instagram and X, formerly Twitter. I am Jacques Wooding Donovan, and I will see you again next week. So have yourself a safe and enjoyable evening and weekend. Goodbye.